Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Knowledge bone. What the science, baby?
What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. What's happening, people? L.A.R movement still moving. So we're gonna get into this topic, and getting quite interesting, to say the least. If you see the thumbnail, this is why black women are black women decades behind in being woke. And there's gonna be some reason in here that's female related, and there's gonna be some reason in here that's definitely male related. So first and foremost, thanks, for coming by. I hope you get something productive from this. Tell me what you think. Now, the reason I use Shahrazad Ali in the thumbnail is because she had some things to say, her and Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, decades ago, that that black women haven't been able to wrap their heads around. And I saw something earlier today when they had two women who were on a podcast, and they were talking about empowerment and leadership skills, and how nothing has changed in the last few decades, and how women need to carve out more spaces for women. And it was interesting, and I thought to myself, okay, so women have a lot of spaces carved out for them individually. How many more spaces do you need? But then I was like, maybe I need to chill out. And then something happened. The thing with Shaq happened. People started talking about it. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Because mothers are the first teacher of the child, and you ladies don't actually experience America the way we do. Y'all don't experience life the way men do. So what I've noticed over the years is, especially in our community, when it comes to being woke, sisters have always been behind the curve. This is why behind the curve, the bell curve or whatever. Let's start with the obvious, the hair thing. See, here's the thing. If you was a black man and you watched the movie Malcolm X, and if you looked at James Brown or there was a time period, 50s and 60s, where brothers would perm their hair, fried, dyed, and laid to the side. And, they did the hair thing, and it almost looked white, don't it? And, somewhere between the 60s to the 80s, because the 80s, they had the Jerry curl thing, so it was still perm to a degree. But after the 80s, I'll take that back. In the 90s, they had the S curl, but the S curl was more like doing something different with your own hair that looked like your own hair. Maybe it's because I didn't have, my curl didn't quite, what I'm saying? I was like the Luther Vandross, the curl didn't quite. But that was almost, that's 92, 2002. That's almost 40 years ago, technically. Jesus Christ. 30 years ago, 2002. 2012, 2022. So brothers have been going off of this, we don't want to have our hair permed and this, that, and the third. We don't want to have white type hair. But the ladies have still been on it, except for recently. They're the natural hair women growing out their locks and this, that, and the third. So they've been behind us even on the aesthetic part. Uh, Gotta go somewhere else with this. So when it comes to that, their presentation is one thing. Now we gotta go here. Um, and the more important part of this discussion is a lot of you ladies don't realize, you know, even y'all entering corporate America, the way you interact with corporate America, how you go to school, you get an education, and you're getting a good job, and da 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 da. Black men have already done that. Black men have already done that. We've went to school, we've got an education, we've got a good job, and we understand that there's a ceiling in corporate America. The glass ceiling is something that men found out decades ago. Now, sisters, I'm not gonna, are finding out that they know about the glass ceiling, but I think the difference is since it happens to us first, it's like every time you talk to a black woman, got me stuttering. Um, they're on a path to, well, it's not gonna happen to me. It happened to you. It happened to your dad or your granddad or your uncles. But it's a new day. It's a different time, and I'm a black woman, so it's gonna be different. Only to come to find out it's the same glass ceiling. It's the same glass ceiling. So they have this. They have that issue. They have that issue. Oh man, that's cold blooded. That's cold blooded. I know what you meant. So the intersectionality part of it. Black men tried the coalition, the NAACP, the blah blah blah, and then you had part of the civil rights movement. Remember, that movement was about black people, and then the rhetoric became, minorities, and they made the change of minorities to include other people, and that threw us under the bus. And now you see black men in particular like, nah, we're just gonna be specific. And while we're being specific, black women are talking about intersectionality. That's the LGBT thing and the black and brown coalition. And it's like, so we don't have to go through y'all 10, 20, 30 years, of figuring out that this coalition thing ain't gonna work. Well, I got what you meant, fam, but I'm glad you reposted it. So that's a whole nother aspect of it. Now, when I said Shaq, I brought up the Shaq thing because, a few people have been talking about it in the space. And the issue with that is black men who could consider themselves womanizers, they've aided these situations. You know what I'm saying? Black men who might have been raised by a stepdad and he came into fame and fortune only to be the complete opposite of his stepdad. He don't remember his stepdad. He doesn't have stories of how his stepdad was cheating on his mother or playing his mother or using his mother or abusing his mother. The guys don't normally have these stories. The girls somewhere along the lines, they do. I don't get it, whatever. But these guys grow up, they attain fame and fortune, or fortune and fame, however you want to put it, and then they start hitting the streets. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I got you on that, LaShawn. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're looking back at, the black woman is a queen because when I had the black woman in my care, I cheated on her all the time. I did her dirty. I didn't appreciate her, and now she gone. And this is why you need to listen to your black woman. Hold up, player. Hold up. This is where we have a problem. And this is why I said decades behind in being woke, because since these type of men are trying to make up for their past, indiscretions, they're going too hard. They're putting too much sauce on these conversations. And what they wind up doing is enabling the women that they've wronged to become a woman who's going to be doing the same thing 20, 30 years from now that he's doing now, but too old to fix it. And these women are raising young ladies to become women who, at the end of the day, these women will, in no nice way to say this, they're going to regret all of their activity and their disdain and their hatred for these men and how they treated these men. Because you see it now. You see it now. You see people having these regrets now, but they don't want to say that they're regrets. So guess what? If you want to do people wrong and don't say you're doing people wrong, but you want them to deal with it, we're going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a huge, huge problem. And now you see it more and more and more and more. So, but the problem for the guys is the guys are dealing with this type of behavior, and you want the men to be pro-black and black first and for the black community, and these guys got to address the females not really being woke. Thus, let me go back to the Ice Cube. Was it Cocktails with the Queens? I forget the name of it. I'm sorry if I mess it up. But when he brought up, the contract with Black America, and he said, black women are black people, right? And they was like, no. So you got to understand, using that as a clip, and guys already having this experience and belief that sisters see themselves as a completely other category, and it to be shown like that on a nationally televised show, and for him to be thrown back like, wait, what? And he's like, okay, write your own thing in for yourself. And there's a problem. How many years or decades do you think it's going to take for black women to be part of black people again? See what I'm saying? So they're decades behind at being woke because they're not black first anymore. They've been black woman first for decades. So whenever they become black first, the guys are going to be long gone. The only time to tell who was right and who was wrong, I would say that the black manosphere and the black male perspective is going to be looked at as more right in history than wrong. Not trying to be biased, just being objective. Are there some, because I think the men are more honest, and we can easily weed out the more extreme people. Like this was an extreme person with extreme point of view, but we have a more centered approach. But some of y'all like gravitating to the wild stuff, so that's on y'all. But black women decades behind that being woke. I got yeah, man, they're years behind that being woke. And the problem with that is this: for all the people who want solutions and who want how we're gonna fix the black community, we don't have a community until we're on the same page. So how many years you think it's going to take for us to get on the same page to actually to have a community and then cultivate that community? You know what I'm saying? That hurt, man. French, what's happening? Yeah. I'm gonna get to that, Wrench. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Thanks, fam. So I'm gonna get to that too, party. That was actually what I was going with next. So using, Kevin Samuels as a reference, all right? And it ain't just Kevin. It's all uh it's the reaction economy that he's created, but it's also all of the reaction videos that people make that are kind of like manosphere adjacent or in the manosphere that aren't even related to Kevin. But these same thing with Kendra D, um, her thing on Instagram. When you see how the ladies are having a hard time dealing with reality and common sense, it's like how long is it going to take for these ladies to have to deal with reality and deal with common sense? When you see when people bring up the facts, the data, the statistics, and it's like a culture shock, you know. When you see women, I saw the thing with Kendra D and Rebecca Lynn Pope, and there are not enough eligible quality guys. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, these ladies still can't deal with the fact that on average, we still make more money than them. So looking for somebody, so in this sense, if you want to be hypergamous, on average, you're still dating up. The problem is you got too many ladies who want hypergamy or super hypergamy. They want to be, they want to be maybe $40,000, but they want somebody that makes 100, 150, 200, 300. So somebody making 60, 75, 80, which double the 40, or over half of what they make if they made 60. That's still a problem. That's not good enough. And you can't have a black community or a black family with that mentality, because 60 and 40 make 100 if y'all got together. You know what I'm saying? If y'all got together, if y'all chose to get together, but you don't want no 50-50. You don't want a 70-30, 60-40. Well, I'm thinking about Teddy Pendergrass. You got to excuse me. But as far as being woke, see, there was a time when, and you can call this pre-red pill rage, where the guys were like, same thing as I'm trying to date. I'm dating you because I wish my mother raised me to be the man that quote unquote my dad was. And if I see a young woman in my age group that reminds me of my mom, I'm going to date her and treat her like my mom should have been treated. So we could work together, so we could actually make this thing work. Problem is, these guys were sold a lie, and they were sold a fantasy and a dream that wasn't true. They got their hearts broken behind this. So why I say they're decades behind, of being woke, because, to have a community, you got to have a black family, and black love is just topsy-turvy. And the problem becomes, okay, so there have been decades of raising the young boys to cater to the women, but there have not been decades of the women teaching the daughters to cater to the young boys. That's still a no-go. And since that's still a no-go, how far you think this is gonna go? Seriously, how far? Same thing with the Cam Newton thing, right? Cam said, women need to be women. People was in an uproar. And in the same interview, Cam was talking about how men need to be men and not be on the BS. That was completely that was completely ignored, because guess what? That's how it's supposed to be. The men are supposed to be men, and the women are supposed to be what? Women, right? Or the women are supposed to be men now. Like, it's ridiculous. We're not finna do this. We're not. So So when it comes to being decades behind, um, there with black men of the past and even the present, there's been this push for when black men get in the door. We gotta fight harder. Be twice as good to get half as much. And we've made a push to get other black men in the door too. And then once we've got that, we've made a push to get black women in the door. Thus, you see more black women in the door than ever, but you act like it's just tied to the female empowerment thing when it's actually not. It's a long-standing tradition that black men actually help put black women on or put black women on. But black women don't have such a tradition with black men. Black women have the human resources stereotype where they'll hire everybody on the planet, black females first, but black women first, but everybody else on the planet, and hire a black man last. So in that aspect, sisters are decades behind in actually being woke because you don't want to see more faces in the community. And I forgot about this. This is actually one of the things that started this. So I was going to work out today. Today's a Sunday, the day I'm doing this live. It's a Sunday. And what happened was, if you listen to like a black R&B station, I know in my city it does, I know in all other cities I've lived in, they did this. They would have like the Sunday morning adult type of talk on the radio station, right? Whether it's politics, whether it's family, whether it's health, they would, like the pre-church conversations that you should have. It's not all fun and games. And today they were talking about health and health care and how black women in particular have an issue with health care because the doctors don't treat them fairly, and we have less and less black dollars. Look at this. I'm gonna leave that up there, Wrench, because salute to you, man. Because people need to see these things in real time. Look at that. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. See, brothers do this type of stuff. Businessmen and brothers, they do this type of stuff all the time. All the time. This is pretty much a norm. I've seen people who black men in particular who've done business. This is a norm. Brothers either they hire people who other people wouldn't hire, and they pay more. I know y'all don't like to hear that, but that's true. But the problem is y'all treat them like trash too many times when they're doing you better than the white man or the other man ever did you. But that should be part of this conversation. Since I said it now, it's part of the conversation, so y'all know it exists. So we're gonna take that. And I appreciate Wrench for doing that. But here's the other thing. So now we're at that point. How can I put this? Well, because you ladies have that reputation of not actually helping brothers, it trickles down to your own sons. So when you have the ladies with the ladies say the women teach you to be smart, get an education, go to school, get a good job, career, so you don't have to depend on a guy. Our sons are reading at a, what is it, 5th grade or 8th grade level, 4th grade level, I want to say, I'm sorry. So far behind other people. And these are the same mothers in the same household. And at some point, to put the boys in a better position, you're going to have to focus on the boys' education the same way you focus on the girls' education. But the question is Could you focus on the boys' education without giving them a female villain? Because you're going to tell the boys, if you don't go to school and get your education, you're going to wind up living out of a hefty bag. Make sure you don't live out of a hefty bag, going from girl house to girl house, because we taught her how to get her stuff together, but we never told you how to get your stuff together. Thus, you're living off of a woman. So we need to teach you how to, live better. I say it that way, live better. So now we got to play this game. And the game is simple. How many years, how many years is it going to take for Black women to catch up? How many? And when I was talking about, like, you think Black women are gonna be Black first 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? Because I'm not gonna say they are gonna be on par with brothers, because it's like, we make a move and then they make a move, Appreciate it, Amy. I hope I'm glad you liked it, But 20 years, 30 years from now, sisters don't know where the Black men are gonna be. And this is actually what the Black Manosphere is for, is kind of foreshadowing where the guys are gonna go. And some of the ladies look at some of this stuff as, as bashing, as down on women. And they don't realize guys are telling you, 5 years from now, this is where we're gonna be. 10 years from now, this is where we're gonna be. 15 years from now, this is where we're gonna be. And ladies are having a hard time hearing it, but the ladies who were listening 5 years ago can see it. You get what I'm saying? So imagine the ladies that are hearing it now, and it's a culture shock for them. Because guys are saying, listen, if I can't find a lady here, I'm gonna go, find a black woman from a different group, whether it be Caribbean or African, and move around, or I'm gonna go to a different race. And it's like, oh snap, appreciate that. What's up, Astro? So and I'm gonna get to that. Because this is part of the issue. Because part of the Black male image is around criminality. But we don't want to say that a lot of the criminality we talking is roughly around college age individuals. So I'm gonna give you like from 18 to 25. That's roughly what that is. People who've been in school from 18 to 22, graduating or going for a higher degree, master's, PhD type stuff. So somebody who went to school and maybe got something extra to go along with it. Now what you're seeing is the ladies having that same level of criminality. Same age group, same level of criminality. They used to just be the girlfriend, the side chick, the I like bad boys type of thing. But now they're actually participants in criminality as a lifestyle. And so they're decades behind. So they're not even, how can I say this? Their incarceration rates are higher, are growing or getting higher and higher. But they're not in the legal system like Black men, but they're about to find out that the laws are going to work against them in the same way. And they're not going to like it. I can tell you that right now, they're not going to like it. But they're gonna have to go through that to see, okay, the community is like this, the community is like that. We need to get it together. So, excuse me. So they're gonna be decades behind because, the fathers were taken out of the home because of the crack epidemic. And see, here's another thing about that. How many mothers are taken out of the home currently from the get the bag epidemic or the feminism epidemic? We don't look at it in that way because you got to say that the men and the women go through. We experience America differently. So guess what? How many of you ladies, consider yourselves abandoning the family of deadbeats when you have everybody else having to teaching your child first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, but you? Even if you're the primary custodial parent, you're not in the home enough because you might be working a job, you might be working 2 jobs, you might be struggling. You might be in the household, but you're taking days off because you're stressed out with the kids. So you check out, when you get at home. So you don't interact. So, now the kids who grew up with their father missing because of the crack epidemic, what's happening, George? What's up? What about you missing from the feminism epidemic? And because ladies are gonna have to come to grips with, I think feminism is their civil rights in a sense where they're gonna go, oh man, this is not for me. Now I remember when they had the women's movement. I forget if that was Barack Obama being in office or right when Trump got in office, when they were tripping, when it was like, look, the black woman was like, yeah, we here, but we actually aren't part of the sisterhood because the sisterhood doesn't necessarily care about black women. And I saw that happen, but it was kind of like, as the years went by, the ladies fell back in line. So how many times are they going to have to get into these scenarios until they go, you know what? Maybe I'm right. Maybe these guys have been right. Maybe feminism ain't for us. Maybe we need to figure out how to get back to the black community. And that's an issue. So, y'all don't have the back and forth that we have with the guys. Y'all don't have the educated Lane versus Pookie and Ray Ray debates amongst women. Y'all don't have the strong independent woman versus the stripper, versus, the get the bag thing. Y'all don't have that yet. So there's no division among you because our division came from successes and failures in life and which side you deem a success and which side you deem as a failure. So, well, since I can't speak on that, but I'm gonna take your word from it. It makes sense though. I can see what you're talking about. But getting back to the task at hand, perfection is perfected. So mother let him understand. Anyway, that's a Snoop Dogg reference. So we got to take this somewhere else. I just thought about this, George. If you want to come up, girl, you always welcome. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. I got love for George, man. He's always the backup singer to the Temptation. But the health thing, and this is important because this is part of the reason why I got Shahrazad Ali there. When she said she had made the miseducation masterpiece, I'm gonna call it that. She said one of the things that happened was she thought that the health issues could be fixed in the home with the men and the women, with women cooking men healthier meals so the men live longer, last longer, be there in the homes, and the ladies didn't want to do it. And you fast forward some 30 plus years, almost 40 years, and we have too many single parent households with unhealthy kids. So what once happened to the men in the household with negative food and bad eating habits, and and getting sick because of bad foods, has happened to the women. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, 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 no. No. But I'll touch on that for a second, fam. Because even when you look at media, right? I saw something. Black women have this, whether they say they're trying to play the game, but it's evident that their agenda is in the works, is at play. Whether it's a Me Too agenda, whether it's a Black women empowerment agenda, their agenda through the media is versus Black men. It's not Black women, Black men and Black women. It's like Black women versus Black men. And I saw the thing with Gayle King today, a clip of it with her and Megan Thee Stallion, and I couldn't think of anything but not that long ago, maybe a month, 2 months ago, when Gayle King was like, when she was talking about the Beyonce's mother, I forgot her first name, Miss Knowles Lawson, right? Her documentary about Black men being treated poorly or emasculated. And she was like, I didn't know. It just made me think about how Black men are being treated in the media. And I'm like, you the same person that tried to throw Kobe under the bus after he died. You the R. Kelly lady. So now a month, 2 months after that, now you want to go, Tina, thank you. Tina Knowles Lawson. Now, Gayle King, you the same lady who back at your old shenanigans with. Now you're doing the interview with Megan Thee Stallion, trying to go, okay, Trey Songz must have shot you. So see, I know it's bad, and which makes that a suspect situation when, and sisters gonna have to learn this lesson too about being woke. You're going to the media, and this has been going on for years now. You got sisters going to the media because they can't win in court. So they go to the media. They go to the media first. They can't win in court on evidence. So what they do is they go to the media. They get another Black woman to co-sign, or how can I say this? Or a gay Black person to co-sign, or a non-Black person to co-sign, or an effeminate Black male to co-sign, or a Black male who feels guilty from being a womanizer to co-sign, and not just a regular straight Black male they don't talk to, or even just a person who's objective they don't talk to. But they go to these people and they go to the media to basically win the jury over before the case starts. So you're tampering with the witness because social media says this person is a bad, evil individual, and you've done 3 interviews or a documentary on this person. So by the time y'all get to court, everybody dislikes the guy. Because if you just went there on evidence alone, there's no way you will win. So these guys are getting hip to that. It's like, okay, so a girl I clowned with 5, 10, 15 years ago, all of a sudden it's coming out of the blue and nowhere and says I did X, Y, and Z. It's ridiculous. No, it's not answering your question, Southpaw, it's not an all thing. It's just but I will say I think it's a majority thing. I think in general, sometimes it's not necessarily dumbing down. Sometimes it's just putting. I hate to say it this way. A lot of these mothers want their sons to get them out of poverty. So that's the goal. And a lot of these same mothers want their daughter to get an education, so they don't want to be in a position that if they have a child, they're hoping their male child gets them out of poverty. So you don't have to. So they want them to not depend on a man, because whether we like to admit it or not, part of the ladies talking about don't go to school, get an education, so you don't depend on a man, is it trickles down to the sons. The son winds up being the man that you don't want to have to depend on your son either. You know what I'm saying? So that becomes a problem. The guys were different like that. Yeah, like I'm natural. That's cold-blooded. You cold-blooded tonight. So to me, that's the issue. So like I was talking about earlier, like we're at a point where, like I said, the question is, how long are we going to do this? How long? How many years you think it's going to take? Sorry, I've been drinking. I'm thirsty. It's been a long day. Not I've been drinking, but because when it comes to being woke, think about it. There is no female Martin Luther King. There is no female Malcolm X. There's no female Medgar Evers. People like to attribute Rosa Parks to the story, and she's definitely part of the story. But I could surmise that Emmett Till's mother had a bigger role in the civil rights movement than Rosa Parks, because of the story behind it. You got to remember, if I go back to Rosa Parks, the reason why Rosa Parks was the one that said she was going to move to the back of the bus, because they lynched a black man who was in military uniform when he said he wasn't going to the back of the bus. So they figured, white people don't really normally lynch black women like that. They will, but they won't go there. It was a calculated, I would say, guess. Because partially, like I was saying earlier, sisters don't have the same exact black experiences as black men. You know what I'm saying? So y'all still can benefit off of chivalry. Let's just say it that way. Ooh. I look down and nose. That's interesting. That's very interesting. A lot. Yeah, I've seen it happen before, but that you got me at the right time. I don't know how to explain that. So, getting back to like decades behind. So when you see these guys, whether they're black men have become more and more independent contractors. That's independent contractors. That's why all the trades skills and the businessmen, the truck drivers, that's actually where that came from the glass ceiling. So ladies are, when I say trades, like the only population I can think of with black women would be women who do hair. Like that's the bulk of the entrepreneurs in the black women space. Like I don't even know if I'm 100% sure with this when I say this, but if I'm not mistaken, even with food, and I might be wrong when I say this, just as far as black men and black women is concerned, I've seen more black male chefs or black men who cook for a living than I've seen black women. And I'm not trying to be biased. I'm just saying that's what I've seen. Now that I think about it, like, how many restaurants do you know of, whether they're black owned or not black owned, that you see a chef running it, a female chef? What's happening? Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, Southpaw. That's a problem. So even when it comes to the cooking part, when it comes to the cleaning part, when you get high up in the tax bracket, I've seen more successful women outsource cleaning. They get a maid. They get a maid service. It's turkey leg hut. So turkey leg hut. I haven't been either. I think I'm not into turkey legs like that though. I haven't been either, but I've been in numerous black businesses. I was at a black joint, a black spot yesterday. I think they got the best gumbo in the city, actually. And this is Houston for people who don't know. But it's a spot called Nola Daiquiri. They're from New Orleans, so and the chef is actually from Chicago. So me and him, we talk a lot of trash to each other. That's just a temporary show to the community that, yeah, it's cold-blooded. It's not modern woman 101, but because earlier I talked about how, womanizing guys kind of enable this behavior. They don't they do it. Oh yeah, okay. I ain't never been to This Is, now that I think about it. I ain't never been to This Is It. Or maybe I had. Nope. I've been to Mickey's. I think I've been everywhere but Turkey Leg Hut and This Is It. I've probably been everywhere but those two places. Before I moved here, I didn't know Frenchies was a real thing. And I thought it was just something in Jason's lyric. But when I got to Houston, and I was like, oh, that's real. But getting back to that, let me back up to what I was talking about earlier. When I was saying, ladies, I've seen ladies outsource people, cooking and people cleaning, or cleaning in particular, I don't know about Checkers. It used to be Champs Burger. I know there used to be a Champs Burger that was for Muhammad Ali, but it might have transformed into Checkers, but I don't know. Hold on. Now, getting back to what I was talking about. Sorry. What winds up happening is when they do that, you see less and less sisters trying to cater to men. And I don't know why this is this way, but as far as being, the years behind that being woke, when you see ladies talking about the community and what's going on in the community, they leave out the men. And it's interesting because the way that they leave out the men comes off of, these ladies don't want to do anything to cater to men. Just like the BLM thing, the Black Lives Matter thing, when they had the mission statement, and the statement was disrespecting black men as far as, them being the head of the households and black men being parts of the head of the family and this, that, and the third. And it turned around we saw it coming. They have just been self-serving and self-centered. There was a time where they would say that, black men have been selfish, self-serving, and self-centered. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Bernard Riley. He's going live tomorrow. I'm gonna be there. We going live tomorrow, rather. So me and him gonna do our thing and rock out on his channel, of course. So if y'all can come through tomorrow morning. But getting back to the topic, the woke topic, sisters don't realize, sisters are on the Sparkle. Oh man, Sparkle got some good burgers, dog. Cream too. But you drive right by Sparkle. Sparkle is not even a. If anybody who comes to Houston, Sparkle is like it's a burger joint, but it's they kind of gentrifying the hood. So I think it's off of Emancipation or right near it's near Emancipation. It's near downtown. I forget what street right now. But you drive right by it. You drive right by it and not even notice it. It's like it's like a little bitty grill spot. You know what I'm saying? But fire. Cream burger, fire. Soul food vegan, fire. Just for the record. Because soul food vegan is off of Emancipation. There's a black side of town for some of y'all don't know. There's a black part. It's called Emancipation. It used to be something else. I forgot the doggone street what it was, but it's like a Black History Museum and everything over there. So that's what it is. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation. When the BLM leadership folded, because it's basically folded, it's no different than when people was talking about the church was taking advantage of people, or the Nation of Islam, the nation was taking advantage of people, or black organizations, NAACP was taking advantage of people, that type of thing, right? So now you see when women say, well, women, our black women say, men need to sit down and let the women run the show, and just like clockwork. But I think it's worse because of the time period we're in, and everything is digital, and information gets out so fast. And even if it's propaganda against us, it gets out super fast. But when it's accurate, it's accurate. So now the fact that these sisters have made Black Lives Matter look like a cash grab, what organization is going to be trusted now? Kind of like the Black church, kind of like the Black church. So you see how guys got away from Black church, because once the Black church became too biased and less objective and less honest and less truthful, because the Black church got compromised for money. But that's the only, I would say, I ain't gonna say only, that's one of the bastions where actually people in the Black community follow male leadership. But, you know what I'm saying, because Black men have left the church, you actually, in the last maybe 5 years, you see more Black women actually kind of looking for alternate religions, so they've all left the church. So even when it becomes woke to the shell game the church has been playing, ladies are behind at that. You know what I'm saying? So it gets interesting. It gets interesting. Other than that, I went from thing to thing to thing. So I hope you got me when you was listening. But I think I'm gonna shut it down now. I got some things to do. I got an email to send or whatever. Got family to talk to. It's been a good day, good weekend. But you know what? Before I go, just put this in the chat for me. Could y'all help me out? I believe that Black women are decades behind Black men at being woke. And I've asked the question numerous times. How many years? So could y'all in the chat put how many years you think before I get out of here? Like just type in, I don't know if you think the ladies are 5 years, 10 years. Because even when I brought up BLM, right? Remember how most of the guys in Ferguson got killed. They got killed. The lady just moved on like ain't nothing happened. 35 years. Sheesh. That's a lot of years, man. That's you know, because some ladies gonna come across this. Oh, all right. $100 million. 5 years. Oh, you being quite conservative. Okay. We got 30 to 50. Dang. 50. The woman says 50. Oh man, that's not good, man. That's not good at all. Man, that's not good at all. You know. So you know what that tells me is like 50. Oh man. So in our lifetime, these problems may not get rectified. Now, social media might help it speed up the pace, but that's interesting. That's big black workers fight. 12 to 15. Oh man. You know what? Before I end this thing, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in y'all issue because I forgot about this. So I'm sorry. Because women are the primary parents, and most households are single mother households. I see this mentality. You cold-blooded for that. I see this mentality permeating and it being taught to the kids. That's why earlier I was talking about the mother being the first teacher. So we got from 5 to 50 to 5 actually to 100 years behind. So whether it's boys or girls, it seems like these ladies are teaching their sons and daughters to perpetuate this wokeness, or being behind that wokeness. Because I think, but the sons have to actually deal with America, so they got to snap out of it. But it's like a lot of these sons were raised to deal with this female version of woke, and then they have to become men and to get a culture shock and maybe red pill rage for that too. But they're part of the equation now also. Ooh. Digital trap house. I like that. Yo, man. Yeah, because all right. Five to okay. But more people have sit around, Whew. That's bad, man. That's bad. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna shut it down now. But yeah, 10 to 15, we about to find out because unfortunately we got to deal with this stuff. So I'm gonna stop the camera. I want y'all to have a good time, good night. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one, yo. Peace.